Lucky. All right, shalom. Praise to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakidas, divine to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. My name is Amawan Dalah, and I'm here to prophesy about the downfall of America just as well as the rest of the surrounding kingdoms. The rest of the surrounding kingdoms include the whole of Europe, the European Union, the NATO nations, Africa, and those of our people that are in power in Africa will be forced to be righteous, or they will be put to the sword. America is a kingdom that's going down. Oh, I said America. Slovakia, Israel, Asia, South and Central America are Hebrew Israelites as well. And if they don't get in line when the Lord returns, they will be put to the sword as well. And then we're going to take the world back over, because the world was created for our sakes anyway, according to the Bible. This world wasn't created for the heathen. This world was created for the so-called blacks, Latins, and Native Americans in that scripture, whom are the biblical Israelites. When you see the 12, when you heard of the 12 tribes of Israel, or if you haven't, if you read the first 5 books of Moses, I know y'all heard of the 12 tribes of Israel. They just 9 times out of 10 didn't hear that there were 12 tribes, and didn't know that the Hebrew slaves that common everybody make working as a Hebrew slave. Y'all know that those were they were in Egypt and left Egypt. Never been called Israelites in Egypt. Matter of fact, yeah, right. So y'all know, y'all heard. You haven't about to get on the course too late if you're a so-called black, Latin, Native American. Because if you because the time of the end is at hand. As far as the heathen go, the so-called white people, the Edomites, the Caucasians, so-called Africans, which are of the various tribes, Ham, Foot, Mizraim. Ham was the forefather who had sons that had sons, and they all were being called very different names, man. The Perizzites, the Cushites, the Hittites, etc. They all got biblical nationalities. Well, those are their biblical nationalities. They all got Hebrew names because the scriptures written in Hebrew. But who else? I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah. Their kingdom is going to be took, and our people are going to be made to straighten up and be righteous or die. Point blank, period. So I'm gonna start this precept off, and then I think I'm gonna jump into, because I'm just impromptu, by the way, but I'm gonna jump into something. Got a couple things I want to point out today, anyway, because the closer and closer we get to the end, the more and more you're supposed to prepare, and remember that there is remember that there's hell. Scripture says we by much tribulation must enter to the kingdom of heaven. This is Daniel chapter 7, verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. It's like a kingdom forever, forever and ever. Right? We're going to take these kingdoms down through the spirit of power of Yahweh Shai with Yahweh Shai leading. That's why the precept in Revelation said he had a head of many crowns. This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 11. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. This is Yahweh Shai. And in righteousness he does judge and make war. Right, the Lord is the one that's causing these wars to happen. He's the one that's judging and making these wars occur. And that's why the end all be all wars is going to be when he returns, and that's going to be during the Battle of Armageddon. And it's only going to take an hour to cast this man down. Verse 12, his eyes were as a flame of fire, going back to Revelations 1 and 13. And on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. But the elect got the name. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of the Most High. Going back to John chapter 1, it says, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Them horses represents the chariots of Israel. The so-called UFOs are black men, the so-called African American man from the tribe of Judah, Judites, and them so-called white chariots, or them so-called UFOs, or them white chariots, or them so-called UFOs, man. That's who riding in them. It's not white horses. This is allegorical, if that's in the word, but metaphorical. It says, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Right? Clothed in fine linen, white and clean. That's from that's righteousness. They were righteous. They are the righteous. Verse 15. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword. That sharp sword is the scriptures. That with it he should smite the nations, because it's the word, teaching the word, then eventually going to be made, it's going to come to pass. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. See, we're going to take the kingdom, and once we take the kingdom over, heaven is going to be established, but with us having slaves. He's going to rule them with the rod of iron. He's going to be fucking the heathen nations up for what they have done to his people. The Lord's people are the so-called black Native Americans, Israelites, according to the Bible, man. And we're going to subjugate the world and put everybody back in slavery. Because at one point in time, the nations were in slavery before, during the time of King David. It says, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of his fierceness and wrath of the Almighty God. Right, man, and that's when he come back to fuck the nations up. That's why, let me read it again. Daniel chapter 7, verse 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Right, man. So that's what we're entitled to. Taking the heathens and putting them in captivity and having them in slavery, man. Forever. Not just for a time, Not just until a nation rise up to take us back down. That's over with. The second Ezra chapter 6. The second Ezra chapter 6, verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. Of him come we all. Right? But there were nations in the garden with Adam, by the way. And the people also whom thou hast chosen. See, there was a chosen line that came through Adam. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. For whose sake? The chosen. Everybody should know by now that the chosen were the Israelites. The Lord dealt with his people were the Israelites. As for the other people mean the heathen, which also come of Adam, that has said that they are nothing but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. Right? The heathen nations are looked at as spit